I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Cleveland County Commissioners for June 15th, 2021. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
We do have a quorum.
All right. This time we'd like to have the pledge and the invocation, and I was wondering if there's anybody in the audience that would like to volunteer to provide that tonight? Okay. Jason Falls has volunteered. Stand, please.
You join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You join me in prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity for us to gather here tonight. God, we thank you for the time and the service that these men and women put toward bettering our community. We ask for your hand of protection over them. Give them wisdom, give them clarity of mind. Be with those people in our community that protect and serve us, from law enforcement to fire, EMS, anyone that's put in harm's way. Be with our residents. Thank you for all that you do for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, I'd like to recognize any elected officials we might have here with us tonight. No one? Do we have any veterans tonight? We'd like for you to stand and be recognized and tell us your branch of service.
United States Air Force, Jason Falls.
Johnny Hudson, U.S. Army. I know you already got one.
Thank you. Thank you both for your service. Law enforcement?
Danny Howell, Cleveland County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Danny. And the county department heads, if you would stand and be recognized.
Carrie Milton, Assistant County Manager. Katie Swanson, Social Services. Martha Thompson, Deputy County Attorney. Tiffany Hansen, Health Department.
Jason Falls, Business Development Director.
Barry Davis, Emergency Management, Fire Marshal.
Story McIntyre, Communications.
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate all y'all do for us. Are there any items, commissioners, that need to be added to the agenda? If not,
Those items, I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, and then we will move on to citizens recognition. Madam Clerk, we have one name.
Yes, we have one name.
So would you like to read the?
Yes, sir. The citizen recognition portion of the meeting is an opportunity for persons wishing to appear before the commission to do so. Each presentation will be limited to 3 minutes. The board is interested in hearing citizen concerns, yet speakers should not expect comment, action, or deliberation on subject matter brought up during this segment. Topics requiring further investigation will be referred to the appropriate county agency.
Okay, and tonight we have Miss Dorothy Duffy, and we'd like for you to come forward, tell us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here. It was nice to meet some of you. Hope to meet the rest of you later. My name is Dorothy Duffy. I'm 93 years old. I live at 903 Spring Garden Drive in Shelby. And I would like to, tonight I want to talk to you about the monument of the Confederate soldier that stands prominently in the historic Cleveland County Courthouse Square. I read in the newspaper that the courthouse is going to get a facelift. I was wondering if in the process of this facelift, you could include the removing of the statue of the Confederate soldier. That Confederate monument is less than 1.5 miles from the Shelby School baseball field, where the American Legion World Series will be held in about 6 weeks. The American Legion, on its website, states that its purpose is to enhance the well-being of veterans, their families, our military, and our communities. Millions of African Americans are veterans of the United States, and many have fought in our country's wars all over the world. The Confederate statue in Shelby is an insult to those veterans. The statue is also highly offensive to others, such as the African American teenagers who will soon play in the American Legion World Series. The citizens of Cleveland County who take great pride in hosting the American Legion World Series and who benefit in many ways from hosting this event might lose the right to host the World Series if that statue is not removed. How can the American Legion organization agree to extend the contract to hold the World Series in Shelby if that monument continues to stand in the square? Confederate monuments are coming down all over the country, and it is time for Cleveland County to be on the right side of the history and remove the monument. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you for this opportunity. Any of you have any questions of any kind that I could answer?
Thank you. We appreciate you coming tonight.
My pleasure. Here, hold on. Thank you, Flossie.
Brings no economic development whatsoever.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the consent agenda, and for that, I'm going to call on Brian Epley, the county manager, to present that to us.
Commissioner Bridges, members of the board, a couple items for consideration this evening. We'll begin with item A, which are the minutes from your May 18th, 2021 regular commissioner meeting. Those minutes are in your packet for review and consideration. Item B, from tax administration, the collection report for May 2021. Very pleased to report collections through May at 98.3%. That's almost a full percent higher than this time last year. Obviously, that was impacted by COVID and the tax office being closed, but we are trending towards a 98.5% collection rate, which would be the best in the history of our county. I'm very pleased with that team's performance. Item C, also from tax administration, monthly abatement and supplement reports for the month of May 2021. Abatements total $2,364.10, and supplements total $152,191.61. Item D, from our travel tourism department, budget amendment number 62 on the year. And this is a request to budget $7,500 in grant monies received from the Bowling Springs TDA. And that's in a perpetuity to a contract for data management and access services, sharing a contract with our department. Item E is from the finance department, and this is in preparation for year-end closeout as we approach June 30th, modification to our original budget ordinance to prepare again for the audit season and the full closeout here in about 2 weeks. Item F is budget amendment number 64. This is a request to budget $2,139 from the Department of Public Safety, specifically our JCPC function, and those funds do not require a county match. They are discretionary, and the request is to purchase 2 additional laptops. Item G, also in preparation for year-end closeout and our annual audit process, the Finance Department is requesting that the board modify our capital asset threshold to be more in unison with the recommendations recommended by the State Treasurer's Office, and also to be more comparable with benchmark counties around us. The primary modification would be changing the general capital asset threshold to $5,000. That would have the most material impact on computer equipment, which is currently at $500, and essentially reduce the number of asset equipment entries that we had to put into our depreciation system. Item H And finally, our final item on the consent agenda is from our legal department, and this is a resolution as prepared by the Association of County Commissioners, both reviewed by the county attorney and our in-house counsel, to adopt a resolution and a memorandum of agreement. As you're all aware, back in 2017, 2018, Cleveland County, along with 76 other North Carolina counties and 8 North Carolina municipalities, all filed federal litigation against manufacturers of opioids. And as the Association of County Commissioners have put together a steering committee and a task force partnered with DOJ, they're approaching a settlement agreement, and this MOU would allow us to continue that process moving forward and be a part of that settlement agreement that could reach upwards of $850 million for North Carolina counties. There's more details in your packet, including the proportional damages distribution model. And with that concludes the consent agenda, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, Commissioners, is there any discussion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, well, we'll move on to the regular agenda, and we're going to hear from Rhett Melton, Chief Executive Officer, Partners Behavior Health Management.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the chance to be here, and I appreciate Mr. Epley's discussion that we've had on these topics over the last several weeks. I know that Andrew Schrag has been before you, I think even maybe at the last meeting, but what I wanted to do is just give you a quick update on some of the more significant things that are going on with Partners Behavioral Health Management right now, and certainly answer any of your questions. 3 things I wanted to cover while we have some time tonight is one is to let you know about you probably have heard already and more to come about other counties' interest in joining Partners as an organization. Talk a little bit about our areas of focus for next year, and then give you a quick update on where we are with Medicaid Transformation as it relates to the tailored plan operations. So a couple of things about the county's realignment to Partners. So just so that if you're not familiar with Partners, going back in time, I came to the system in 2000. At that time, Cleveland County was aligned with Lincoln and Cleveland in an organization called Pathways. And through the course of the years, that Pathways merged with 2 other organizations in 2012 to form what's now called Partners. So it was the 3-county Pathways merged with another program that had 3 counties, another one that had 2. So we became an 8-county program and selected the name Partners in 2012. Subsequent to that, Rutherford County elected to leave their program, which was based out of Asheville, North Carolina, and joined Partners. So that gave us the 9th county, which is where we are today. A number of counties, Rutherford was the first, and a number of counties since then have reached out to Partners and said, we've heard a lot about what y'all do. We've heard a lot about your model. We believe it's different from what our model of our program that our county is under. We'd like to talk with you about joining yours. So those counties those conversations have been going on really over the last year, with a lot of those coming to fruition now. All those were initiated by those counties. Partners hasn't reached out and contacted any of those counties. All those literally were phone calls from county managers or commissioners calling me saying, we've heard about your organization, can we talk? When we go through that process, when Partners has had these opportunities, we're very deliberate in the process. It didn't start out this way, but it has kind of come to 3 questions that we ask when we look at a county joining us. One is, do their values line up to ours? And one of the things that Commissioner Wetstein and I were talking about earlier, that the values of Cleveland County and Partners, I have a lot of conversations with Carrie and Brian and others about, kind of the vision of healthcare, the vision of taking care of citizens locally, and everybody coming together with departments of social services and health department and EMS and Department of Juvenile Justice, kind of all working very collaboratively at the county model. That's our model. We're not a managed care company that's going to sit in a corporate office somewhere and do something out of Charlotte or Asheville or wherever. The model's very different. And so when we have these opportunities, we have a lot of deliberate conversation with the county about, do your values and our values line up? Nothing wrong if they don't. It's just that's our model, and we want to make sure that we stick with it. We also ask, after we talk about the value alignment, is can we serve that county the way that these citizens deserve to be served? Some of the members that we have responsibility for are some of the most complex members in the community, some of the more needy members in the community. So we're not going to undertake a county to join us if we don't believe that we can ethically and contractually meet those counties' residents' needs. So we make sure that we can do that. And the third question that we ask ourselves is, can we do that in such a way not to diminish or detract from the service that we give to our current county? So in other words, we're not going to take on, when we took on Rutherford County, we made sure it didn't suffer Cleveland County at all. It didn't impact, we didn't lose our focus. And the other counties that we're talking about now, we do that. So those are kind of the three questions that we ask in our due diligence process when we look at a county opportunity. Once a county decides that they want to leave their LME and join partners, there's a mandated process. They have to go through a request application they send to the Secretary of Health and Human Services. They have to take public comments for 60 days. They have to post those for 30 days. It's a long process. But once the county decides that, the ball starts rolling. It takes about 9 months for a county to go through that entire process. And you'll see there on the screen, Cabarrus, Stanley, and Union counties have all been working with partners since October, November of last year, have asked to come and join us. We did our due diligence. They did their due diligence. They submitted that application to the Secretary. They went through the public comment period. Everything has passed, and the Secretary has now approved them to join partners. So Cabarrus, Union, and Stanley counties will add to our current 9-county catchment area and will become a part of partners in September the 1st of this year. Forsyth is another county that went through that same process. And just for your information, Cabarrus, Stanley, Union, and Forsyth counties, all 4 of those counties are from the same peer organization that we are. It's called Cardinal Innovations. It's based out of Charlotte. So all 4 of those are coming from that same organization. Rutherford County was from a different one. They came from an organization out of Asheville called Via Health. So Forsyth has gone through the process now of requesting the transition. They did the 60-day, the 30-day. They sent their application to the Secretary, and they're now waiting on her approval. So we expect that to be approved. And once that happens, we're looking to have them join us in January of next year. So 3 coming on in September, space them out so that we can do it effectively, and then January would be Forsyth County. The last bullet point there is just to talk about a week ago today, actually, last Tuesday, there were some major announcements out of Cardinal Innovations. Cardinal has 20 counties. Those 4 counties have come to us. Another couple of counties have elected to go different places. So there was about 14, 15 remaining counties. And Cardinal Innovations announced last Tuesday that they didn't see there being a viable way for them to remain in existence. So they were going to merge with coincidentally Via Health, the one out of Asheville. So those 2 organizations are going to merge sometime over the next year. One of the things that the Secretary of Health and Human Services did is she met with county leadership from those remaining counties and said, you don't have to necessarily go from Cardinal to Via. You have a choice. You can go through the process of determining, would you rather be more of a regional model, more of a local model? And if so, then you can have those conversations through the month of June. So we've had a number of counties reach out to us since then, and we're in the process of having those discussions. Again, we kind of come back to those same 3 questions. Do our values line up? Can we do it the way that those members need it? And can we do it without detracting from now the 13 counties that would be a part of us? So a lot going on and a lot that will play out on that over the next couple of weeks. Just to real quickly kind of change gears and give you some idea of what we're focused on as an organization next year. One is, I'll talk in a minute about tailored plans and what that means, but that's a big focus of ours that you'll hear a little bit more about. Increase in partnerships and providers and value-based contracts. I had a chance just before this meeting to participate on a conference that was going on that was virtual as a national conference, and the panelists, we were asked to talk about value-based contracting. And what that means is to make sure that when we have contracts with a provider of service, that we're talking about paying them for getting the outcomes that they need for their members to take care of, not just to bill another hour of a session, not to just spend another day in a residential setting, but what are you doing for the citizen? What are you doing for the member that's beneficial to them, that makes their care successful? So a lot of effort in moving the entire system from what's called a fee-for-service basis, where you just pay for volume, to where you're really paying for outcomes and you're paying for success. Increase the stability of residents and permanent supportive housing. There's a significant push in the state of North Carolina. The state of North Carolina is in a settlement process with the federal government around housing and individuals living in congregate settings. And part of the settlement between North Carolina and the Department of Justice was to move individuals out into the community away from these congregate settings. That lawsuit settlement just got extended for another 2-year period. So there's a lot of effort in making sure that when members move out in the community that they're stable, that they don't go to that independent setting and then go back. So there's a certain statewide effort to make sure that that's successful. Reduce the number of children in out-of-state placements. It's important, we believe, for kids to be treated close to home. We have a strong partnership with our Department of Social Services colleagues here who oftentimes is the guardian for these members, and it's hard to hard to get good care if that setting is in Memphis, Tennessee, or if that person is in Roanoke, Virginia. They need to be closer to home and where they're going to be brought back to. So significant effort to making sure that we do stay closer to home with those kids. Increase the focus and success on targeted physical health. One of the things that I'll talk about in a second with the tailored plan is historically we've been responsible for the behavioral health needs of the citizens of the community and those with an intellectual and developmental disability. Starting next year, when you hear about the tailored plan, we'll also be responsible for their physical health. So it's important for us as an organization to start looking at how those things fit together. So you'll see some focus on us looking at those with a very complex need, taking care of, for example, the diabetes needs of an individual that might also have bipolar disorder, and how those things can hurt each other if they're not both addressed at the same time. Targeted assistance and support for the hungry and homeless populations. One of the things that we've always seen our role is to be a partner, pun intended, I guess, with the individuals in the community, and trying to help some of the community's needs. And obviously, there's a significant homeless population demand around our entire area, and the hunger that comes with that. So we want to make sure that we continue to focus on partnering with county leadership on that. And then the last one there is you'll see just to continue the best practice staff development efforts as we continue to grow and refine our workforce. So trying to change gears now to that last topic, the Medicaid Transformation topic. So the state, several years ago, the legislature passed legislation that splits the operation of the Medicaid managed care into two pieces. One's called the standard plan and one's called the tailored plan. The standard plan there was a request for proposals that went out, and that's to provide care for those without a mental illness or developmental disability, or those that might have what's considered a very mild mental health or developmental disability. So that's what you think of when you think about this managed care. For example, Partners, we are insured through Blue Cross Blue Shield for our employees. And so when somebody goes to the doctor, when somebody has surgery, when somebody that has to get pre-authorized by the managed care company, they go to one of the in-network providers. It's on my Blue Cross Blue Shield listing of who I can go to. Same concept. When the state did the RFP for those, the big companies across the country are the one that won those contracts. You think of United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Centene Corporation. Those are the ones that are going to operate that program. That starts July of this year, starts in a couple of weeks. That's a massive change for every county in the community. So what historically has meant for the hospital, for the health department, for DSS and others, now each of those individuals has selected a plan. So as a citizen of Cleveland County that has Medicaid, over the course of the last number of weeks, they've said, I want the United Healthcare plan, or I want the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. So they went through, they've never had to do that before. And so now when somebody also shows up at the hospital and they have Medicaid, it used to be that the hospital would bill Medicaid. Now they bill Blue Cross Blue Shield if I'm a Blue Cross Blue Shield Medicaid recipient, or they bill. So there's a lot of changes coming on through all parts of the system. So that's the standard plan piece. And again, that goes live in a couple of weeks. The tailored plan is for those that are more complex on their behavioral health needs or have a more persistent intellectual developmental disability. Those are the ones that we serve now and that we'll continue to serve. So we'll no longer serve that mild mental health case that we're responsible for now, but we'll maintain the responsibility for those with a severe case of mental illness or severe case of intellectual developmental disability. But not only will we be managing that care, but again, as I mentioned, we'll be managing all their physical care. All their normal care, their preventative care. if they have diabetes, if they have a heart attack, if somebody gets pregnant and has a baby, if somebody needs a liver transplant, all that becomes our responsibility as a Taylor plan, as well as all the pharmacy cost for that member. So massive change for us, but in a good way, because now what we can do is not kind of bifurcate the system, if you will. We're looking at the whole person. So everything that individual needs, we can help them get, and we'll be responsible for, rather than having a couple of different systems managing it. So it really is a good thing for some of the most complex members, again, of the community. So the operational time frame for that is, again, the contract for standard plans goes live this July. Taylor plans goes live next July. So we sent in, just like the standard plans had to do, we had to make application. We submitted a 2,000-page, 2,500-page application that was required. That's still at DHHS. The award announcements were supposed to have happened last Friday on June the 11th. They didn't meet that deadline, but say that they'll make those awards by the end of the month. And then we'll have a year, basically, from the time that we're told that we got the contract to go live. So we're going through the process now. I mentioned there about the fifth bullet point down, it really is the opportunity for further fulfillment of our mission when we do have the opportunity to work with an individual in a more comprehensive way. That's what our mission statement's all about. So it really fits with where we want to go as an organization. One of the things that's an important thing going on right now is a lot of those members that have historically been served by us, but now are going to be served by those other health plans that I mentioned. There's a massive process now of making sure they understand where to go for care, because it's not where they got it, or not where they're getting it now. It's going to be different 30 days from now, to help them navigate that change and help them understand that. And you're talking about thousands of members throughout every county. So a lot of education, a lot of warm handoffs and those kinds of things going on now. The next to last bullet point, I've kind of already mentioned that, because, again, our partners here from the health department or anybody from the hospital, they've been working this for a while. They know how significant this change is, but it's a massive change for all the parts of the community that deal with health care, for those that are uninsured or those with Medicaid coverage. The most important thing, the last bullet point there, is just, and we have been, again, I'll go back to the close relationship that we have with so many leaders here in the county, the collaboration, the communication that we've done over the last really year plus to try to make sure that we're informing the citizens in the county, making sure that they understand what's coming down, and making sure that we help them to the degree that we can pick that plan that they wanted to pick, and then get ready for life after partners for some of those individuals. The biggest thing is to make sure that nobody gets left behind in the transition, that everybody kind of knows what the expectations are. So that's all that I have, Mr. Chair, but I did want to just a couple of thank yous. One is, we have, and I had the chance before the meeting to meet for the first time, Commissioner Wetstein. We've seen each other on a little Zoom box for the last year. But we've been very fortunate from the county's commissioner support of partners. I saw Commissioner Falls before he came in, just all the time that you as a commissioner have supported us. We appreciate that, and it certainly doesn't go unnoticed, and really helping us serve the counties most in need. So we certainly appreciate that. The active support that you've given to us in the role of the governance. We've always had a commissioner on our partners' governing body. They've always been very informed and very engaged and very supportive and helpful for us, and we certainly appreciate that currently as well, so thank you for that. I mentioned earlier, I couldn't be up here without saying thanks to Brian and Carrie and the DSS team. It really is something special about, we deal with 9 counties, soon to have 13. Cleveland County is special in their community approach and how everybody's kind of at the table trying to figure it out together. That's not, you shouldn't take that for granted, because again, we see it at a lot of other counties, and it's something truly special here, that there's a culture of trying to work together and be together to help those citizens in the county. So we certainly appreciate that as well. And just again, thank you for the support as we go forward. Big changes coming, a lot to navigate together, and we look forward to continuing to do that together with you. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any comments from the commissioners?
I appreciate the job y'all doing. Just a couple questions I've got. You talked about reducing the number of children outside the state treatment facility and target support of homeless and hungry. How are you going about doing that?
Right. So part of on the children's piece on the out of state is looking to try to have more providers grow capacity in state. trying to have more providers that we contract with. So like I mentioned earlier, where Blue Cross Blue Shield contracts with providers, we do the same. We have 400 and something providers that we contract with. So trying to help more grow capacity closer to home. Some might have capacity in South Carolina, a big treatment facility down across the line in Rock Hill. We'd like for them to build something or grow something closer home. Same in Virginia. So that's part of our strategy. And really, the overall strategy and the partnership that we have with Department of Services, the Social Services, is try to stop the demand for that, right? It's not a success when we have to put a child in a residential treatment. So it's kind of working back upstream to say, how can we stop that from even being a need? On the hungry and the homeless, the homeless and the hungry, it really is our staff. We have a campaign where our staff are given of time, serving at soup kitchens, donating materials to the homeless, blankets, clothes, that type of stuff. So there really is a community effort in terms of volunteerism for our employees around that.
Okay, I guess next question. In the transition to the new program, okay, what happens if someone still shows up at DSS, the health department, but they've chosen to be in some other provider's network?
Right. So DSS, I mean, obviously they can speak to this way better than I can, but they still have the responsibility to help that individual kind of navigate their plan. They've always been the navigator, frankly, and they're the ones that have the enrollment responsibility to help the individual. So they're always going to be able to help the member understand what their card says, just like Partners is. Even though we're not serving them anymore, we can help them understand what they elected. Same for the health department. So there shouldn't be a wrong door. It might not.
They build whoever the provider is for the service.
If it's a service like for the health department, if they are billing Medicaid for a service, they will bill that appropriate health plan in the future. They'll have to enroll with all the different health plans, not just Medicaid oversight.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the questions.
I've considered it an honor to serve on the board, and I feel like I'm getting up to speed. The first few meetings we had gets over your head pretty quick,
right.
but I appreciate what you do, and just being a country boy from here in Cleveland County, it makes sense that if we can provide services for the entire person instead of just one group taking care of this person, this part of the person, and this taking care of another part, because there's got to be some overlapping.
Absolutely.
That with one organization handling the whole person, it's got to be better.
It is. I think it's fiscally better, as well as, from a human standpoint. So us to be able to say, like, maybe why they're showing the signs on their bipolar disorder is they're not compliant with their medication that controls their diabetes. So how do we help somebody stay in that? And again, so that's a difference in our model than the national managed care companies. But I agree with you. I'm excited about the future.
Well, maybe we do a great job and we can get the national to holler us.
I'd like to see that happen. So thanks.
Yes.
I've just got one question. It seems that our jail and prison population, that a huge part of that problem is mental health. Is Medicaid Transformation going to help that situation at all?
Not a lot. I mean, candidly, a lot of those individuals, they don't have Medicaid services while they're in the jail, so you're dealing with an indigent population, and there's not enough money to serve that. The more that we can be efficient with that as a state, and again, try to be preventative. There's a lot of things that we are doing now in the jail, and there's certainly a lot more opportunity, but this is not that silver bullet. Doesn't mean that it's going to slow us down either. We still have a lot that we could be doing, but it's not the answer.
Anybody else? Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
the
y'all.
presentation. Now I'd like to call on Jason Falls, Business Development Director, to give us an update on the Catawba Resort.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. It's an honor to be here tonight, and really I just wanted this to be a conversation. Just talk about what's going on at the casino property. Everyone's aware that the casino's coming, and wanted to introduce you to several people that are key leaders with the project now. We've got them back in the back room. Mike Ulizio is the president of the Catawba Nation Gaming Authority. Trent Troxel, he is the vice president. Then we have Chuck Hall. Chuck is the Director of Security, and David Gunn is the Assistant Director of Security. But like I said, the casino project is coming, and it's coming very quickly. We've just got a little bit over 2 weeks before they're preparing to open. And what I've done is I've just put together some slides, more just to make us think about maybe questions that you may have. So please stop me if you have any questions during this presentation. But I'm sure everyone has seen the property by now where it's at, but right on I-85. It's the 16 plus acres that is taken into trust. Also, there's about another 50 acres that are around there that will be part of the development. The pre-launch facility is a 15,000 square foot modular facility. It's actually 23 different buildings that are pressed together to make one large building. I'm going to show you a picture of that in just a minute. They started working on that on April 22nd. That's when they first brought the first 5 modular buildings on site. And they are prepared to open up on July 1st. The introductory phase will be the next phase that they'll start working on after that. That's a 60,000 square foot building with an attached 5-story parking deck. The parking deck will be 109 feet tall. It'll be, if not the tallest, it'll be one of the tallest structures in Cleveland County. There may be a grain storage structure that's taller, if I remember right. So then after they're done with the introductory phase, they're anticipating starting phase 2, which is going to be basically building the resort over top of the 60,000 square feet. They're looking at adding a second floor to that 60,000 square feet, and then building out from there. And they have not released what's called the master plan, which shows all they anticipate building out there. But I can tell you it is varied, and some of the things you hear is anywhere from a 4 or 5 story hotel to 40-story hotel. So it just depends on who you're talking to and what day you're talking to them. So this has been a very fluid, just a fluid. I'm trying to think of the right word, but the process has been very fluid. They're expecting it to take 5 to 7 years for them to completely build out on everything. This is an artist rendering of what they're calling it the pre-launch facility is going to look like. You'll notice out front there's a food truck. They're planning on having 2 food trucks down there every day. During the day, the majority of the day that'll be there. And those will swap out each day, and they're looking for more food trucks to come on board, but they're working through those now. This is a picture from this morning of the pre-launch facility, and you can see. I'll try to point it out to you. This is actually the casino floor here. This back here, these are offices and workrooms for the staff. And if you'll look back here in the back, there's a pad that's right out here. That's the pad for the 60,000 square foot building that they're going to build, with the parking deck going on the back side of it over here. You'll see a couple other things. It's like a 3 modules of a building that's here. I don't want to call it a triple wide, but that's kind of what it is. And that's going to be the center for the workers and the construction shack. And they've paved all the parking lot around here. This is still gravel at this point, but they anticipate potentially paving that in the future. This is an artist rendering of the pre-launch facility and the introductory facility to show you how they'll work together for a short period of time, and then they're going to remove once they get the introductory facility in place, their intention is to remove the pre-launch facility so they can build there. But the entrance is going to be on this side, and this will be the main entrance to go into the casino once they get it built. I'm going to show you a picture an artist rendering if you're driving about right here in just a second. Catawba Timeline. The main reason why I put this slide on here was basically just to show you the length of time that their teams have been working to try to make this come into fruition. They started in Cleveland County. Their first visit was in 2008, and now it's 2021, and they're finally realizing their dream that they had. Current timeline. Modular is again on site April 22nd. They had a job fair at the LeGrand Center May the 18th and 19th. They had about 875 people came through the LeGrand Center. They hired 240 of those people. So it really was. They would come in for an interview. They would go back to the back. If they made it back to the back hall, they were offered a job. And whenever they left the rooms, the conference rooms back there, they walked out. The chief shook their hand, and they walked out with a job. And that was pretty cool to see. What's even cooler is starting today, the job training started at the LeGrand Center. So today, tomorrow, and Thursday, those 225 people about are going to be at the LeGrand Center learning their job-specific roles and their training. Another big event that I think is a big event, there's already power out to the light poles out on the parking lot. They're going to turn the lights on this coming Friday night. So a lot of people will be interested in stopping by there and looking and taking pictures. They're already doing that during the day. There'll be even more starting June the 18th. The pre-launch facility will be open July 1st. They're anticipating starting construction on the introductory phase around September 1st. That date has slipped some, and may again, but that's right now on the schedule. And if they start with the gaming on July 1st, the IGA that we have, and I'll talk about the IGA in just a minute. One of the things in it says that they're going to pay $50,000 to the health department, and that's to cover gambling addiction or those kind of things. And that's again just a down payment. If they start on September 1st with the construction of the introductory phase, it's about a 13-month build out. So we're expecting to see that complete late fall of next year. This is if you're driving down that driveway going toward the casino, you'll see the introductory phase. The gaming floor is over here on this side. This is an elevator shaft, and then a 5-story, 109-foot tall parking deck. The governing document between the Catawba Tribe and Cleveland County is called the Intergovernmental Agreement. That was signed on December 5th of 2019. That IGA spells out several things. The responsibilities of the county, the responsibilities of the tribe, payments in lieu of taxes. If you think about the property that's out there, it's sovereign land. We can't tax it. But the tribe agreed. They needed our services, and were willing to work with us through this process of forming an IGA, and they'll be making pilot payments to the county. They'll also make other payments to the county for specific services. The first was a $150,000 deposit toward their permits and their building inspections and things like that. They had done that months ago, and we've been using that to pay for the permits that they've been already granted. They're also will be paying for like abuse prevention programs and things like that. The IGA is a 20-year renewable agreement. It does specify annual pilot payments. Again, those are payments in lieu of taxes. That's on real and personal property. There's a local infrastructure fee that's built into it, 6% of on-site hotel rooms rented.
Those are whether or not they are paid for or they're comped. So we'll get 6% of those. Development fee, again, that was the $150,000 down payment that they made. They will collect and remit 2% sales tax on food and beverage, retail sales, and entertainment to the county. They'll reimburse the county for EMS, law enforcement, and fire services, just as if they are any other business inside of Cleveland County. And again, provide funds for compulsive behavior treatment. So where are we at right now? We've got about 2 weeks before they're going to open. Actually, it's about 17 days. For the pre-launch facility, every permit that they've requested, our team has went through and we've issued those permits. Fire inspections, they're on track, no noted deficiencies. The health department has worked with the tribe, with Delaware North, and we've got a temporary food permit that's been identified. They've already requested that, and it's already been issued to offer solutions until sewer is present on site. Currently, there's no sewer that's out there. So they've developed a way, it's basically what's called a pump and haul. They're going to be pumping out all the sewage each day from that location. So the 911 director, Story, I saw her here. She and Daryl from Electronic Maintenance, they went out and identified cell sites to make sure the response is pinged to the right locations. She was out there a good bit, and it was amazing watching them work. The health director, Tiffany, is here tonight. She has worked with the tribe and with Delaware North, and this is a big deal, to make the facility smoke-free. Whenever Tiffany first started, actually the first time Tiffany called me and she said, I want to meet with you, and I felt like I was being called into the principal's office. She told me, and she and Deshay told me that that was a big deal, that they wanted to make sure that that was a smoke-free environment. So she connected up with the right people with the tribe, and they made a decision to do that after talking with her. So I give her a lot of credit for that. And the county manager's office has confirmed that the IGA terms have been met thus far. Projections, what we can expect to see. Once this is completely built out, and this is 3 to 5 years, we're thinking around 10 million visitors annually, and that's a conservative figure. This could be the largest gaming floor on the East Coast. That's a big deal. There'll be hotels, restaurants, shops, entertainment. We have heard, and I've talked with the architect, they are looking at a performance venue with a potential of 7,000 to 10,000 seats where they can do music concerts, things like that. There's housing, retirement developments that are already being built and more are being planned in the area. And one thing that I wasn't aware of until I started working on this project is that casinos and resorts are a very culturally diverse workforce. They'll have people from all over the world that'll be here and from all over the U.S. that'll be here. So we'll have a lot of visitors from other nations, and that's something that's going to be an enhancement to our communities. One thing that I've been working with the county manager on, Brian actually started this process with us, is we're working with a company called Analytical Environmental Services, and that's to project call volumes based on location, size, and type of resorts. There's all different type of casinos, there's all different type of resorts. This is just an example of the numbers that we're expecting to see. It'll show annual fire calls, and again, these numbers are not, these numbers aren't our numbers, but we want to get a number that's annual fire calls per million visitors and annual law enforcement per million visitors. One of the things that we talked about today, Chuck and I talked about, their head of security, the quality of the people that are going to be running this facility. Delaware North, and all of the people that they've brought into it, that's going to tremendously impact these numbers here. Delaware North runs casinos internationally. They also run airports. They run national parks. They're very well known. So they're a good quantity to have in our community. I do have a note on here too that Two Kings will have security on staff 24/7. Currently, our sheriff's department, and I do want to brag on the sheriff's department as well. They've got 2 off-duty deputies out there 24 hours a day. Whenever the site superintendent called me the first time and said they needed security out there, and they wanted them out there as soon as they could to start working for a 12-hour shift, it was an hour later before we had somebody on site. Whenever they called for the second person to go out there, it was 39 minutes. Within the first day, they had a complete calendar all the way through July of deputies that were willing to work out there. And this is one of the cool slides for me. To see the men and women that were hired to work at this casino, because of the foresight, the work that's been put in by this board, by the partnership with the other organizations, with the City of Kings Mountain, with the Catawba Nation. This is a picture from the back of the room this morning of about 240 people sitting there learning about their new job that they just took. Very cool, I thought, so I wanted to show that to you as well. And that's really my presentation. Do y'all have any questions about the casino, where they're at?
What time is opening?
What time is opening?
Yeah.
It's on July 1st, and Mike and I talked about it a while ago. I told him that I'm getting that question a lot. They have not set an opening time yet for July 1st. The really cool thing too, and I do appreciate the role that I'm able to play with the county. The really cool thing is that the Chamber of Commerce, the City of Kings Mountain, and a lot of people just in the community know, the role that I'm working in now, and I get a lot of those phone calls. I had a group of retired law enforcement that called me yesterday, and they wanted to know what time to be here on July 1st. Later on that day, I had a bus tour that wanted to know what time they needed to be here, so it's exciting.
And we talked about it, I think, but you're covered for traffic jams and whatever, the way you talked, right?
We are. We're working diligently on that. As a matter of fact, I've got a meeting with Perry Davis, Tommy McNeely. We're going to meet out there on Friday. I've talked to the sheriff last night. He is talking to the Highway Patrol. We're going to be looking at staging areas where we can have people out there, especially on opening day, to see what kind of response we're going to have. Yeah, but they're ready. They're ready.
After being at the line at McCaddenville several times for hours at a time,
right?
I can imagine this being 3 or 4 times as much. I just don't know how you're going to handle all that to begin with. Anyway,
it's going to be huge, right? It's going to be huge, and of course, all the responsibility. That's not all responsibility of the county. It's shared responsibility with the Highway Patrol, and Sheriff's Department does have a part to play in that. Potentially, City of Kings Mountain. So there's a lot of partners involved in it.
Just curious, is the exit right off of 85, or do you come in?
So you're going to exit. You would exit off of 85 on exit 5, which is Kings Mountain Boulevard.
Yes.
Whenever you exit, if you're coming from Gastonia, you would turn to the right. There's going to be 2 entrances that you could take to get into the parking lot. The parking lot now has about 750 spaces. They'll have about 500 machines in there. They're also planning on putting, and we've issued the permits for tents that are going to be out on site. Those tents are going to be holding areas. One of them is going to be a staging area in case people come and they can't get in the building because no machines available, over fire code, those kind of things. So that's going to be there. They'll have another tent that's going to be available for people to eat under if they're eating at the food trucks. They'll have one tent that's going to be there for smokers outside. Because it is a non-smoking facility, And then you'll see a fourth tent there, and that's going to be for employees. Yeah.
When they do open, it's gonna be 24/7, so if she wakes up in the middle of the night, nothing to do, you can get.
There's something to do. There'll be something to do in Cleveland County or in Cleveland County 24/7. So,
After thinking about this, it might be wise they have it, because once they set that time, that's when everybody's gonna show up the first time. It'll all level out after a while.
that's
So you
true.
may
So
open
it might
at
be
2 in the
smart
morning.
you haven't decided on what
Get in the
time.
middle of the night, yeah.
There's some things better if I don't know. So I'm not going to put it out there. So, but I'd like, if you don't mind, I mean, Mike is actually, whenever I first met him, started talking to him, and he told me what his job title is, president of the gaming authority. And I said, what does that actually mean? And I think his words were, it all stops with me. I'm the guy. So, Mike, do you mind if I ask him if he has anything that he wants to, you have anything you want to add, Mike, or?
And what's really great about being here is you have Trent here, who is a tribal citizen, as well as Dave, both managerial positions. And so they really appreciate the partnership, and that's kind of what our motto is to get everybody involved on the citizen side, since they're such great partners. One of the things I would like to update you on, we are paving the rest of the parking lot. That's work that got released yesterday. We released it, so that whole thing, no gravel, everything will be paved. With regards to opening properties, Chuck's open two,
One tribal and one for MGM.
and I have three. So we're anticipating the long lines. If we're vague about the time that we're opening on, it's for two reasons. One, we're really not sure yet. Two, we don't want people camping out the night before. That's unsafe. The one thing that, the big theme, and I don't know if you heard this at all, Jason, is the two things about a casino is they gotta be safe and they have to be clean. So those will be our two top focuses, and I think you're gonna find that you've partnered with you, they're gonna bring you a great facility, and that future facility is gonna be world-class, as you mentioned before. But I'm always available for questions. We're not occupying the property yet, so we're working down on the tribal reservation. We'll be there the next couple of days. If anything that I can do to help or any questions, I'm happy to answer.
One of the great things about talking to all of the leadership with the project as a whole is that they know this is what's in front of them right now, that they've got a pre-launch facility out there, but they've got their eyes on what it's going to be. I mean, Mike told me, he said, you're just not going to believe what it's going to be 3 years from now. It's just, I mean, it's just hard to imagine. So that's the thing that I'm encouraged by, is they're not looking at, just being able to turn on machines. They're looking at making this not only a world-class resort area where people can come and enjoy themselves, but they're also looking at bringing the Catawba culture to Cleveland County and having that be integrated in. So it's not just going to be a casino. It's going to be really lifestyle and culture. They're bringing a lot to us. So.
That's that one thought. I think from my perspective, and I want to thank Jason and you guys for being here. Thank Jason for a good presentation. So many department heads in the room that have been a part of it. I think what Jason's describing, and Commissioner Gordon and I have talked about this at length, that we have to be, situational awareness is a key word for what's right in front of us, what's going to happen. Operational preparedness has been our prime focus, and although this project has only been certain now for 180 days or so, the staff, because of the vision of the board, the direction of the board, have had 4 or 5 years to put together a blueprint, a roadmap, and that's why we feel the point of Jason's presentation tonight is to provide an update to the commissioners about the level of operational preparedness that we feel that we're at, whether it's 911, public safety, building inspections, environmental health, behavioral challenges, whatever those may be. We feel like we've addressed it. We feel like we have a document in place. It's our guiding roadmap. We have great partners both in Delaware North and in the Catawba Indian Nation. And certainly there are things that are unknown, such as scope, size, volume of citizenry. if in 5 years there's 10 million people coming through that area in Kings Mountain, to put that in perspective, there's 10.2 million people in the state of North Carolina. So that should give us some proportional perspective as to the size and scope. And although Jason's point's well made, it is going to be a world-class facility. We have all the confidence in the world. Our prime task is to be prepared. Although, again, there's some volatility and some unknowns, for the things that we can control and we know now, we feel like we're in a good spot.
If I can add one more plug for the health department, job training today. Tiffany sent over a crew to do COVID vaccines while there, in case anybody wanted them. So it's just great seeing how the county departments are stepping up and looking for opportunities.
So as we were talking yesterday and talking about all the challenges that are ahead of us, so many opportunities, we can try. Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're moving on to board appointments. And I'll turn to Madam Clerk.
All right. Good evening, Board. The first board we have on the list is the Foothills Development Workforce Board. That is formerly the Regency Workforce Development Board. At this time, you will need to appoint 3 people to serve a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2024. 2 people who are appointed must meet the business requirement, and 1 person must meet either the labor, community-based, or needs of eligible youth requirement. Everybody on the list has been vetted and fit either the business or the eligible youth requirement.
Okay, Commissioners, we have nominations.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Philip Bunch, Nick Weebelhaus, I think that's the correct pronunciation, and Danny Blanton. I try to be concerned about pronunciations of last names because I know what I get sometimes.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, and
Our next one is the Cleveland Community College Board of Trustees. At this time, you will need to appoint 2 people to serve a 2-year term expiring June 30th, 2023.
So, Board, Mr. Chair, if I could take a minute, I'd like to make a comment. So, since this agenda was published, we've had one individual who would like to remove his name from the list. So I'd like to read a letter if I can. So this letter was addressed to the board chair. Since my term on the Cleveland Community College Board of Trustees is near the end, I was and still am honored to have been appointed to this board. I have met and worked with many good people associated with community college. The board, staff, executive leadership, and president are first-class folks, and the college has a lot to offer to Cleveland County. I thoroughly enjoyed my time on the board. As you know, I was elected to Cleveland County Board of Education last fall, and subsequently elected to serve as the chair of the board, school board. While my heart is willing, my mind has realized that it is too much to serve both boards, especially when chairing one. This has been one of the most difficult decisions that I've ever had to make, but respect of request that I be removed from consideration to reappointment to the Board of Trustees. I am still committed to the Cleveland Community College and its mission, and will continue to support the college any way I can. Thanks to the Board of Commissioners for allowing me to serve this past term, and that was signed sincerely, Robert Queen.
okay.
And I would just like to say, this one was, well, all of them are always tough, but we had a lot of really good people wanting to be on this board. And I think we all appreciate the ones that have served, the ones that are serving, and the ones wanting to be on it. And with that, I would like to make a motion for James Hensley and Alan Langley.
Okay, we have a motion. Have a second for that?
Did you say Alan Langley and?
James Hensley.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, thank you. Unanimous. And,
Our next one is the Cleveland County Commission for Women. At this time, you'll need to appoint 1 person to serve a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2024.
okay, we have a nomination for Commission for Women.
I'll make a motion for Holly Wall.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? All right, thank you.
The Cleveland County Jury Commission. You will need to appoint 1 person to serve a 2-year term expiring June 30th, 2023.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we appoint Melissa Curtis.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Thank you very much.
Next is we have the Cleveland County Social Services Advisory Board. At this time, you'll need to appoint one person to serve a 3-year term set to expire June 30th, 2024.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we nominate Matthew Sadler.
Have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second. So, all in favor? Thank you very much.
And last is our Partners Board of Directors. You have the list of applicants in front of you. At this time, you'll need to appoint one citizen and one commissioner. The citizens on this list have met the healthcare requirements needed to serve on this board at the seat and have been vetted by staff.
I make a motion for Darrell Cook and Commissioner Whitstein.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
I vote for Darrell with.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that gets us down to commissioners' reports. Anybody got anything they'd like to report?
I don't have anything.
Couple things. Legislative Day was just a day or two ago, and Speaker Moore is here, and him and Representative Hastings and Senator Ted Alexander did a great job telling us where we are in the state. One thing that somebody mentioned a little bit earlier is I think it's a great thing the way that everybody in this county works together. You know, the health department, DSS, the sheriff's department, the EMS, everybody here works. When we go to other places and to some of the NACO meetings and stuff, we hear horror stories how counties fight amongst themselves. I think Cleveland County is going to continue to grow and be a great place to live, work, and play because of the cooperation that we're working together with.
I don't have anything. I've attended regular scheduled meetings during the time, but nothing, you know. We do have something coming up before the next commissioners meeting, don't we?
It's a week from today, the ribbon cutting for the shooting range expansion.
Yeah, the ribbon cutting would be by invitation only.
Yep.
And I think the invitation is going out probably this week. Yeah, this week, so that way you'll be getting them. And we had a presentation for a check, but that got postponed because some of the people couldn't make it here, so they're gonna do it the day of the ribbon cutting. That's $215,000 from the
Outdoor Heritage Association.
Heritage Foundation, so.
And I would just like to say that I too say that it's amazing how we all work together. And even if we disagree, still have respect for each other. I had a good friend that lost her daughter this weekend in a really unexpected farm accident. So you never know how long you have here, so please don't do anything you regret. You might not be able to tell that person.
I really enjoyed the legislative breakfast as well. It's nice to sort of get back to normal and be able to meet without having our faces covered up. We can see who we are. And anyway, I just appreciate the opportunity to serve, and I really appreciate all the staff that's here tonight and all the hard work that you're doing serving the citizens. And with that, staff have anything like to say? Okay.
Actually, yes, Mr. Chair, if I can say
Okay.
one thing. As we've gone over before, we're doing board appointments. We have another set of board appointments that we're doing at the next meeting in July. That's going to have about 7 boards. We are looking for applicants. So to our citizens out there watching and who's going to listen later and those in the audience, please contact me, go to our website, apply. We are looking for a great group of people to start joining these boards as we go back to normal. We're needing people to start filling spots, and I'm happy to help. Just go to our website, contact me, and I'm happy to help.
And with that, the next meeting of the Cleveland County Board of Commissioners will be held on Tuesday, July 6th, 2021, 6 p.m. in these chambers, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?